small business owners and independent contractors. Get affordable insurance with Sagicor Pro Shield. The time by Sagicor Life is
7 o'clock.
CVM News at 7 Wednesday headlines, courtesy of Heart and Estate Trust, Jamaica's Human Development Agency.
Good evening and welcome to Tracking Melissa, the aftermath. CVM continues our comprehensive coverage of the impact of Category 5 Hurricane Melissa. I'm Giovanni Dennis.
And I'm Nika Lewis. We have been with you here on CVM TV throughout the devastating passage of Hurricane Melissa, and we will be with you for all stages of the island's recovery.
Up first this evening, 7 people are now confirmed dead following the passage of Hurricane Melissa.
3 people died while preparing for Melissa, while 4 bodies were found floating in different areas of St. Elizabeth this morning. Commanding Officer for the St. Elizabeth Police, Senior Superintendent Coolidge Minto, provided an update.
Currently, sir, we have 4 reports of deaths. 2 bodies were found this morning floating in the Black River area, and the other 2 bodies in the Gallant Beach area. We are continuing to support the recovery efforts and to ensure the safety as best as possible, particularly ensuring that the major corridors are clear.
In the meantime, between 80 to 90% of roofs have been destroyed in parts of St. Elizabeth, while Black River has been declared ground zero due to the scale of the devastation caused by Hurricane Melissa. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness provided a media update after doing a flyover earlier today.
I flew over the south coast of St. Elizabeth into Black River, and from Treasure Beach to this point, we could easily say that between 80 to 90% of roofs have been destroyed. A significant number of buildings were damaged. On the ground, the impact is even more palpable. Right now, we are standing in close proximity to the Black River Hospital, and that has been totally destroyed, along with several other buildings, including historic buildings, churches, courthouse, the parish council, and other older heritage buildings have been destroyed. The electricity grid of Black River is totally wiped out. Telecommunications, we have seen 1 tower damaged. We are not certain if the other one is operable. So the entire infrastructure and everything needed for the convenience of modern living is destroyed here in Black River.
And Dr. Holness says all necessary emergency relief efforts have begun in St. Elizabeth, declaring that while the capital took the brunt of Melissa, it will rise stronger and better, but he concedes it will be a massive task.
Regard is to clear the roadways to allow for vehicular traffic, not just to allow people to come in and visit relatives that they can't get in contact with, but to bring in much needed supplies to the supermarkets and other supply centers which are now empty. So once we get that accomplished, then we will start to see on top of that, more assistance coming in, including assistance from ODPEM and other relief agencies who I'm certain are already mobilized, waiting to come. It is going to be a massive task to rebuild Black River, this historic town. But while it is destroyed, we can vision a future of it rising stronger and better. Because the truth is that many of the buildings were not properly located in the first place. They were in vulnerable areas. We will now take the opportunity to properly reorganize the town and to build back even stronger. So yes, we got a big blow. Black River is what you would describe as ground zero. It took the brunt of it, and the corridor through the south of St. Elizabeth, through Black River, going across the island, going into St. James, that corridor was totally damaged. But the recovery is not beyond us. It's not beyond the government. It's not beyond the people, and we will get it done.
It's just less than 24 hours since Hurricane Melissa made landfall in Jamaica, leaving behind a trail of destruction. Communities in Clarendon that bore the brunt of the system are now beginning the difficult process of cleaning up and rebuilding while restoring a sense of normalcy. Our reporter Akeem Aret has been in the parish and tells us more.
It's day one of the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, and recovery is slowly taking shape here in the capital of Clarendon. However, scars of Hurricane Melissa are still clearly visible.
I did a drive through the town of Maypen, and we had some trees down in and around the township. On the Bustamante Highway, I would have gotten some reports from my people on the ground. The Howard Avenue area, we had some trees down. Those we will deal with during the course of today.
Now, I'm standing here along the roadway of Alley, where just behind me is what's left of the Alley Bridge. Now, residents here describes this bridge as the second flat bridge of Jamaica, which connects them to places like Lionel Town and other places. Now, they would have to travel a longer route to get to their destination if and when emergency arises.
If it is that we have an emergency, we alert the relevant officials, and they would send teams to actually come into the division. And what they would do is travel through Panarsos, that area, to get to Maypen Hospital. But I think that, we have to try to avoid these things happening in the future. And as I said before, I'd recommend them to reconstruct the bridge.
It was damaged in burial. Some remedial work was done there. And knew that I think they had commitment to do further work there. But unfortunately, it was not done as yet. But what was done after burial has been eroded.
Now, as cleanup efforts continue, residents say it might take weeks before life returns to normal. Reporting from Clarendon, I am Akeem Aret for CVM News.
Meanwhile, as the assessment and recovery response to Melissa gets underway, opposition leader Mark Golding says relief supplies must reach those who need it most without political bias. He's also calling for proactive preparation to better protect communities from future hurricanes. Carla Ramdeen has the story.
Opposition leader Mark Golding says hurricane relief efforts should not be political but based on need. He stresses that the opposition will hold the government accountable to ensure fairness in distributing aid.
Well, I had reached out to the Prime Minister on Saturday morning about allowing MPs to be in a position to respond proactively in the aftermath of the storm in terms of people's dire needs. And he then invited us to a meeting which we had on Saturday at around midday. And in the course of the discussions in that meeting, the points were made how critical it is that we avoid any kind of partisan or tribalistic approach to the distribution of relief to people who are in need. And that is our biggest concern. Our biggest concern is that based on what we have experienced, including during burial, the way in which relief is sometimes distributed on the ground leaves people on the ground feeling that there's some political aspect to how those decisions are being made.
Mr. Golding says nonpartisan relief starts with proper fact-finding. Officers must visit all communities to assess needs, and aid should be distributed transparently based only on verified need.
Well, when the fact-finding is done as to who is in need and where the need for relief is, the way in which that is done needs to be scrupulously attentive to the community's needs are not in any way done in a partisan way. So the officers who go out to collect that data must go to all communities, not just some communities, to get those names and those contact details. And the relief needs to be distributed in a transparent way. So the mechanisms that are put in place should include the councillors and their caretakers, the MPs and their caretakers, so that everybody is aware of what's happening and we avoid the perception or reality of, partisanship in what should be a national effort.
Mr. Golding says he acknowledges the government's efforts to prepare for the hurricane, but says more focus is needed on proactive measures to reduce the country's vulnerability to climate impacts.
It's very important in the era of this climate crisis we're in, and Jamaica is now fully feeling the brunt of this with 2 massive hits in 2 successive years, that we have to adopt a philosophy and practice of proactively managing our affairs to minimize our vulnerability to climate events and to strengthen our resilience. And that means we must maintain and clear our drains and our gullies on an ongoing basis. We'll have to maintain our roads. And in terms of our planning laws, we have increased the densities that are allowed very substantially, which has meant that there's much more runoff of water because of the built environment having expanded, because the laws facilitated that. And, but the infrastructure, the drainage infrastructure in particular, hasn't kept pace with it.
Carla Ramdeen, CVM News.
Meanwhile, the Meteorological Service of Jamaica, the Met Service, has discontinued the tropical storm warning for the country following the passage of Hurricane Melissa. The powerful Category 5 system made landfall on Tuesday, October 28, in New Hope, Westmoreland, and exited east of Falmouth in Trelawney later that evening. So Evan Thompson, the principal director at the Meteorological Service of Jamaica, made the announcement during a media briefing at the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management ODPEM in Kingston on Wednesday.
Last night at about 11 o'clock, we downgraded the hurricane warning for Jamaica and instead replaced it with a tropical storm warning that continued through the night as tropical storm conditions continued to be experienced across the country. And as we moved to this morning at 8 o'clock, we discontinued that tropical storm warning because we are no longer within the scope of tropical storm force winds that are associated with the system. So we are still in an unstable situation. We will likely experience more shower activity over sections of the country. We could also experience some strong gusty winds from time to time across the island.
In the meantime, Minister of Local Government and Community Development Desmond McKenzie shared teams from the National Works Agency, municipal corporations and other government entities have been mobilized island-wide to clear blockages and debris from major roadways following Hurricane Melissa's passage.
Already the National Works Agency was active last night in clearing access to the road leading to the Palisados Road and other main roads. So the public will see some general activities on our roadways, making the roads accessible so that persons can move about. Fallen trees. I'll be meeting in a short while with the Jamaica Fire Brigade and the Municipal Corporation and the National Solid Waste Management Authority to map a strategy as to how to approach fallen trees.
And Minister of Education, Skills, Youth and Information, Senator Dr. Dana Morris Dixon, said that the objective is to have telecommunication companies and other critical services organizations to act immediately to restore services.
Telecommunications companies and other critical service entities have now and will be advised to mobilize immediately to restore electricity, water, and communication networks. 77% of the country is without electricity. There is work that's going to be done to bring that up as quickly as we can, but that is a large number. The least affected areas of Jamaica have been St. Thomas, St. Catherine, and sections of Kingston and St. Andrew. The JPS has said that they will start restoring those areas that had minimal damage. So in Kingston, St. Catherine, St. Thomas will start to see electricity being restored more quickly, and then they will move damaged areas.
We take a break. Stay with us.
At 7 Wednesday headlines, courtesy of Heart NSDA Trust, Jamaica's Human Development Agency.
Hey everybody, I'm Yendi, and this is Odyssey with Yendi. In this space, we connect with some of your favorite people as they share their journeys. Here we have some unfiltered conversations as we deep dive into their inspirations, motivations, and experiences to inspire our own life journey.
Odyssey with Yendi, brought to you by Grace, Singer, and IslandNet Services.
Chase the Northern Lights with your Sagicor Bank credit card. Wouldn't you like to experience the natural beauty? Use your cards right, and you could be the lucky winner of an all-inclusive cruise vacation for two along the Norwegian coast to see the Northern Lights. The more you spend, the closer you are to your dream adventure. Enjoy the best rewards ever. Visit sagicor.com for more information.
Everybody needs a helping hand, somebody to understand. In the end, we're all human. For people living with HIV, no discrimination. Here to support them through. Respect you as usual. Got to protect them too. When you're friend of your family, somebody in your community. People living with HIV. Protect, accept, and respect people living with HIV. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Everybody want to see a country right now.
One thing about Jamaicans, we might have differences, but we know when something is good for all of us. And when we work together against crime and violence, we are stronger than ever. And that's how we know the Citizen Security Plan can work.
That one and CSP.
The Citizen Security Plan is an initiative of the Ministry of National Security in partnership with the European Union. It's an all-of-government effort to create safer streets and build stronger communities. Go to mns.gov.jm to learn how you can play your part.
CVM News at 7 Wednesday, courtesy of.
Seize the next IPO opportunity seamlessly with the Sagicor e-Invest.
And welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us. The Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston and the Ian Fleming International Airports have been reopened at 4 p.m. today for relief flights, with commercial operation to resume at 7 a.m. on Thursday. The Sangster International Airport will reopen on Thursday at 10 a.m. to accommodate relief flights. Sangster is expected to be reopened by Friday for commercial flights. Transport Minister Darrell Vass, who conducted an aerial tour, says the devastation is enormous.
I'm pleased to advise the country that based on my tours of the airports since this morning, which I have now concluded, I can state clearly that firstly, the Norman Manley International Airport and the Ian Fleming International Airport, Boscobel, will be open today at 4 p.m. for relief flights. It will be open tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. for commercial operations, which include incoming and outgoing flights. For Montego Bay, they will tomorrow Thursday, the 30th of October, at 10 a.m., be open to accommodate relief flights. We are continuing assessment, and we will have a time no later than this afternoon for the reopening for commercial passenger flights, which will be no later than tomorrow, Friday morning, the latest. We will keep you advised and to let you know that the recovery will start once these relief flights come. The devastation is enormous. Words can't describe based on my aerial tour. So we need all hands on deck to recover stronger and to help those in need at this time.
Minister Vaz also responded to reports in international media that suggest the Sangster International Airport in Montego Bay had been decimated by the hurricane and would not be reopened.
Yes, I have heard about the report on the Weather Channel indicating that airports will not be open anytime soon. I understand that after hurricane, obviously all the media across the world want to know what's happening, and of course sensationalism tends to be the order of the day. I just want to say to not only my Jamaican people, but the world at large, just listen to credible sources, which are the government sources, the ministers, and of course the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, and the Jamaican government apparatus. You will get accurate information at all times on that.
St. Thomas was thought to have escaped the worst of Hurricane Melissa, but in parts of the parish, the storm's impact has been anything but mild. Our reporter Amoy Harriet toured the parish today.
St. Thomas has long carried the reputation of being the country's front line in storms. Time and again, it's the first to feel the full force of weather systems. Now, it wasn't the first in line this time, nor the hardest hit, but St. Thomas still felt Melissa's bite. There were reports of severe flooding in areas like Bath, Morant Bay, Springfield, among others. While on our way to Bath,
so what you're looking at right now is a downed tree that has fallen on some power lines, and there's a fire truck right now that is on its way to another emergency further up the road closer to the community of Bath. But because of what you're seeing right here with the fallen tree, they're actually unable to pass through it. So vehicles of this size, for example, can pass under the tree, the fallen tree, but the fire truck is unable to do so.
Presently, we are on the way responding to someone who is trapped in the Bath community.
When you say trapped, what do you mean?
Actually, the person is trapped in a building.
Whoa. So is it that the building, there's flood water surrounding the building?
No, we are not sure about that. We were informed by the Bath police and we are responding. But at this community, Potosi, as you see, there's a fallen tree in which the unit is not cannot pass this area, which is block the roadway.
Okay, so is it that you guys have contacted perhaps another team to help with the fallen tree here, or how are you guys planning to get to Bath?
We can en route via Golden Grove. However, we are ensuring that the information is genuine. So we have a messenger on their way to the Bath police via a bike, and that person we believe will return in a short while.
Our news team went ahead of the first responders in search of the resident who was said to be trapped. Instead, we found a different scene of despair. Water flowing from the Plantain Garden and Island rivers has triggered landslides outside several homes in Copper Lane in Bath, eroding the soil right at their doorsteps. Ryan Blake owns one of the houses you're seeing here. His car, which was parked outside his house, now gone.
Right where you see those coconut tree in the water, it was land. The car was parking there, so it just washed away.
So this house that we're looking at right here, this yellow with the yellow interior, anyone occupies this house right now?
It used to. People used to occupy it, but they move out as well.
Why?
Because of this. They were in it when this happening. So they move out.
Less than 24 hours ago, this roadway that you're looking at behind me was a 2-vehicular lane roadway. Right now, not even one car can drive on this stretch without running the risk of falling off the precipice. Each time there's heavy rainfall in Bath District here in St. Thomas, the river consumes more and more of the sidewalk and the road. There's a crack right now that I'm looking at in the roadway that goes all the way down. The concern right now among the residents is that the next time there's heavy rainfall in Bath, this entire area beyond the crack will go entirely into the river. Now, I want to turn our attention to an almond tree that I'm seeing on my right. It has been in Bath District for over half a century. I spoke to a resident who's now 50 years old who told us in Barn come see this tree. Yet here we are, 50 years of legacy, memories, history, completely washed away.
Look now, look good, carefully. And the water come this way. It's the whole of Bath. Because when it go, it a turn bad. So the district, it turn right for the main of the district. That's where the water is heading now, to Bath. You understand? So when you look now, the whole of Bath are washed away. And we did not build our house in a riverbed. The river was way over there, almost half a mile.
The residents are living on edge, literally.
Right now, speechless. I don't know when we are going to sleep tonight. But unfortunately, I'm glad for the community to come out and help with.
Can you hear me?
The things I'm in the house.
I'm hearing you on
so
this
that's
side.
one of the biggest
Okay, cool.
They're waiting for
thing now.
Okay, but I wasn't hearing anything at all.
Going forward, I don't know. No, we need emergency help right now.
Elsewhere in St. Thomas, others are saying good riddance to Melissa.
The tree come over upon the veranda. Okay. So see the house they were not damaged, only the veranda damaged.
So
me couldn't go in and him chop them up. Me could have get figure in this morning and me come here.
So show us, because he said inside of your house, flood out.
Yes.
Or water was coming inside your house. So
See there, just I have to draw with the something with them. I have to set the bucket there. The whole of the water come in the chapel and block the bathroom. Come look. All the bathroom, the zinc. All the inside wet up. I have to set bucket. See there, everywhere wet up. See there? See water, see them where there? Water mark. We get it, man. Me not sleep. Me not sleep last night. Me afraid. When me get the pan, ooh, I come. Me afraid bad. Me not sleep.
Now, the Jamaica Public Service Company said St. Thomas fared best among the parishes, with only a small number of residents losing power. But the residents say that while the lights stayed on, they lost much more.
They must say, we get it up here. Some people get it and some not get it.
Amoy Harriet for CVM News.
And we take a short break. Tracking Melissa, the aftermath continues on CVM News at 7 in a moment.
Hi, I know you weren't expecting to see me here. Now you can find your favorite chicken and snacks in the same place. It's true. Come on in.
Introducing the delicious combination of KFC fried chicken and Doritos nacho cheese. The KFC Doritos Zinger, a crunch that's finger-licking good.
Chase the northern lights with your Sagicor Bank credit card. Wouldn't you like to experience the natural beauty? Use your cards right, and you could be the lucky winner of an all-inclusive cruise vacation for two along the Norwegian coast to see the northern lights. The more you spend, the closer you are to your dream adventure. Enjoy the best rewards ever. Visit Sagicor.com for more information.
One money, two come up. Burger King pick two, come back again. Yo, that is it. Any two combo, double deal quick. It's a good look, pick any two you wish. Whopper, junior bacon and cheese, my favorite. American chicken sandwich or grab a big fish. Plus 2 small fries and 2 small drink. Double deal for my money and it have me a sing. 1 money, 2 combo. Burger King pick 2, come back again. Yo, get BK double deal now on a Burger King. Burger King pick 2, come back again. Yo.
The new KFC Dorito Zinger, a combo that's finger-licking good. The time by KFC is
7:30.
Thanks so much for staying with us. Still in the local segment, CVM News has been monitoring sections of western Jamaica following yesterday's devastation by Hurricane Melissa. The people of Falmouth in Trelawney are already attempting to pick up the pieces of their lives as scores of homes were ravaged. When our news team visited sections of the parish early Wednesday morning, efforts were on in earnest by the authorities and locals to clear debris. From residences to businesses, the effects indicate a major blow to the tourist hub. We're now being joined actually by our Trelawney and St. James correspondent Kingsley Thompson for the latest on what's happening in Trelawney and St. James. Kingsley?
Good evening, Mika. Good evening, dear. How are you?
We're
All right,
fine.
Kingsley, describe for us what you saw when you visited Trelawney this afternoon.
All right, but just before I go to that, a quick update on Montego Bay. Montego Bay is now under some serious showers again this evening. Just to let you know that we returned from Falmouth just moments ago and we came to see heavy showers pelting the city of Montego Bay. While I cannot speak for outside of Mobay, the town now is underwater and serious rain, I can tell you. But a quick look at Falmouth today and a warning first to motorists.
Hold a second before you continue, Super T. So where in the city of Mobay is underwater?
Well, downtown Mobay proper, I can tell you for sure. And places like Paradise, close to Montego Bay, Mount Salem, those areas are in and around the city. Catherine Hall again tonight, West Green 2 on the showers as we speak.
And when
as you know the story of West Green and Catherine Hall, those two communities were flooded out. Like I said today, not one dry bed on a ground level floor in that community.
And when they said they're underwater, those communities are underwater again. Describe the level of water that you're talking about, right?
We're talking about the showers falling as we speak. I don't know if you can hear that in the background, but not water on the ground, so to speak, but the rains are coming back at us just like Melissa arriving again. I don't know. You know, it's just something that you sit and you watch and you wonder, are we facing something similar? Because this is a lot of rain again tonight. Wind and rain.
Kingsley, how did the rain and all the excitement of yesterday impact the people now who are possibly having their wet beds? Where are those people now?
I tried to get the mayor this evening just to get an update as to what they've been doing for those people. But I can tell you, Nika, that last night, a lot of people in Catherine Hall were on their roofs trying to avoid being drowned by the floodwaters that submerged cars and so on in that community. I don't know, I went there today, but it was almost impossible to get into the community based on the level of mud we had to face. I saw one gentleman cleaning out his house and he was removing mud, real mud. The shovel came out full of silt. Every time he went in, he came back with mud. I don't know, I couldn't tell you, but I just can't imagine what they must be going through tonight with that situation from yesterday and now tonight the rain again.
No doubt you'll continue to track what's happening in St. James and parts of Montego Bay. But moving on to Falmouth now, in Trelawney, Kingsley, as I had asked you initially, what did you see when you went there today? Because you haven't been getting much out of Trelawney, actually, since Hurricane Melissa.
We traveled to Trelawney today. I didn't get to see much of the parish because, there's no electricity and the night came early. By the time we got there, we tried to look at Falmouth first, and that was a real big problem because both entrances to Falmouth, from the Bowgate entrance of the first original entrance where that Falmouth side, welcome to Falmouth is, it's water water, a whole heap of water flooding that roadway. We moved from there up to the bypass and headed down Market Street, that's the overhead bridge, all the way into Falmouth Town, which was just water. When I say water, I mean if you're not driving a higher vehicle, like an SUV or so on, a pickup, do not try to enter Falmouth or leave Falmouth by any of those ways, because I passed a couple of vehicles in the water, shut off to death. Van, cars, you know, I saw one truck and a small truck. I saw a minivan. I saw two cars, and they're all stuck. The drivers are out standing in water knee deep. And that's, when I tell you, it's a whole heap of water heading all the way in Falmouth. We got past this eventually. After about an hour and a half, we got into the town of Falmouth. And what we saw was just devastating. I mean, in Falmouth, no, there are no one-ways or anyways again. You just drive to get out. You drive, you find a way. You turn left, you're blocked. You turn right, you're blocked. And you just have to find a way to get out of Falmouth, because, you know, Falmouth is a very small town. The Georgian-type buildings are mostly made of board. You know, they might have the red brick foundation, but the upper levels of these homes, most of them are made of board. And I can tell you that it is devastating. I went to look for a family friend, and we didn't find him. We didn't find his house.
All right, Kingsley, because of what you've given us there in terms of the very latest of what's happening in St. James right now, with the rainfall that you are describing is similar to what Melissa brought yesterday, we're going to be bringing on with us right now our in-house meteorologist, Javoy Sawyers, to give us the very latest on what exactly is happening in Montego Bay, St. James, given that we're all thinking that we're out of the woods now. The government gave the all clear, but here you're saying that it's now several communities underwater. Javoy Sawyers, good evening and welcome to CVM News at 7. What's happening?
Hi, good evening. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so currently we're having some showers, moderate showers in Mobile now. We had on and off showers during the course of the day. But sun was out for most of the day. Persons were out drying up, cleaning out. I managed to drive around pretty much to see the damages, survey the damages. I drove past the runabout by the airport. Most of the trees on the runabout were down. The runabout was partially blocked. The airport did sustain some damages to the departure areas. I went on Bottom Road. A lot of down palm trees were across the road. When I got there, luckily, some of them were clear, cut in half, and persons could maneuver around debris and trees. Ventured down Howard Cook Boulevard. There was partial flooding in some spots. Catherine Hall did sustain. They had some flooding down there as well. The Sumfest wall. Many of you may know the paintings on the wall. Portions of the wall did collapse. There were mud in the four-way by Catherine Hall, so I'm sure that was fully flooded when the hurricane was in the peak. Parts of the bridge by Fairview was partially blocked. Light poles, concrete poles, fell across one section, and then trees were across the next section. So there was some delay. When motorists trying to get through that section. I managed to then turn back, drove through the city itself, the town, downtown, managed to get down Barnett Street. There was a large trailer container that was across the road. I don't know how it got there. Well, we know how it got there. Flooding as well. I managed to get down to Bogue, houses, lost roof. We're helping some co-workers trying to check on everybody because Mobi, the cell service is pretty much in pieces. Some spots you may get through, other spots are dead zones. So we're trying to check on co-workers. Went up to Edmund Ridge. Many of the houses lost their roofs in Edmund Ridge. It's we're picking up pieces, basically. It's devastating.
The showers happening now in St. James, Javoy, is it connected to the outer bands of Melissa, just for clarity?
Outer bands no. Melissa is now over the southern Bahamas and moving quickly towards the northeast. What we're getting now, we're having winds out of the west. Melissa is extending a trough across the area. So we can expect those periodic showers, especially in the morning and late night hours across the west, and afternoon showers in Kingston and eastern parishes tomorrow.
Okay, and how long has it been raining now there in Montego Bay?
It was on and off throughout the day, briefly throughout the day. In some places, I was outside up until 6:30. It was raining. It was light showers. Basically, it was on my windshield, nothing serious. Now that I'm inside, I'm hearing rain on the windows. So it's pretty much dark in Mobay. I can't really see much outside. There are a few lights, people with generators. The hotel in the far background, I can see light on the horizon, but much of Mobay is in darkness. The street lights are off. So I can imagine it's a very dangerous straight crossing 4 ways in the pitch black and only seeing headlights. So and also debris strewn across most of the roadway. We're driving on one side.
Javoy Sawyers, our in-house meteorologist out there in Montego Bay, St. James, giving us the latest on the weather. Still raining in parts of St. James. Nika, people there are still affected, as our correspondent for St. James and Trelawney, Kingsley Thompson, described to us. Shifting gears a little bit now as we continue to break down the impact of Hurricane Melissa. We have joining us on Zoom the Minister of Labour and Social Security and the Member of Parliament for South East Clarendon, Colonel Charles Jr. Colonel Charles Jr., good evening and welcome.
Evening to you, to all the listeners, watchers.
Firstly, what's it like in your constituency?
Well, I did a full, well, not a full, but at least observation of most of the areas that are at most high risk. Portland Cottage, Mitchelltown, Rocky Point, Alley, the Alley Bridge. There is damage, but nothing to the extent of what we're seeing in the western part of the country. There's one house that was downed in Rocky Point and a few houses that have either total or partial removal of their roof. There's no incident of loss of life or injury that I have been advised of, and nothing else remarkable besides the usual evidence in terms of the trees. The Alley Bridge, however, has been impacted significantly because it was in the process of being rehabilitated. So a lot of what was used to refill the bridge, to create a firm foundation, has been removed. And the massive trees have actually impacted the bridge. So that will take some time, and it has actually caused for that thoroughfare to be blocked off and closed. So that's something which has to receive immediate attention. Otherwise, we're grateful here because the housing stock is extremely vulnerable. So if what hit St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland and St. James hit us, it would have been, disastrous. It is heartbreaking to hear what has happened to the West. I want to express condolences on the loss of the lives of the Jamaicans who have lost their life in any way related to this hurricane, and just to assure them that the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, we are working all day throughout the clock with an expanded team across the humanitarian assistance community, with JDF giving us full logistics support to ensure that we can do multiple things at the same time. Distribute the relief supplies, which we have started in some parishes already once we got the all clear, and do the household damage assessments, which we have also started in some parishes once we have received the all clear. So there's some areas where it's so significantly impacted and affected that we can't yet go in to do the assessments, but in those areas, members of our humanitarian assistance committee, which includes several of the NGOs and our own team members, are on the ground. However, I must tell you, Giovanni, our own staff members have been affected badly. We have staff members that are marooned, others that we are still yet to contact. I only pray that they are okay. And so we are working with a team that is physically, emotionally, psychologically impacted, but we are working through it. And we
have just about 40 seconds or so to the break. Minister, how will your ministry now be helping persons? Because as you mentioned, some of your own workers themselves are affected and you have not been able to reach them just yet. How is the relief efforts, the humanitarian assistance going, given what you're describing to me?
The first thing is that we have already worked with JDF now to keep the resources that we have safely in warehouses, to distribute those across the parish. We have hundreds that have been moved over to St. Elizabeth recently for the western areas. We've started the household assessments, which are the first point of us being able to provide additional support. And very importantly, we have already started to distribute packages and other relief supplies to several persons who are impacted across the country, and we will continue to do that.
All right, Minister Charles, we have to take a quick break right now here on CVM's News at 7, but if you could stay with us, please, we'd like to ask you just one or two more questions before we let you go. We take a quick break here on Tracking Melissa, the Aftermath, CVM's comprehensive coverage of the impact of Category 5 Hurricane Melissa.
Your duty, perform a track and trace, search for a declaration.
Then download the Jamaica Customs mobile app today. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is...
Lead like the world is watching.
Because it is. The Impact Leadership Summit brings the ultimate business advantage on November 4 at the AC Marriott Hotel, Kingston, Jamaica.
Learn from global speaker and entrepreneur, Vusi Temakwai.
Leaders, hear me and hear me now. Do they understand the calling and are they God-led?
Maxwell Leadership Coach, Erica McKenzie.
Oxford Rhodes Scholar and global investor, David Walcott.
Investment Guru and Senator Ramon Small Ferguson.
This is where leaders rise and impact begins.
Sponsored by Creative Brands and Concepts,
The Summit,
BYD,
AC Hotel,
and Intelligent Multimedia. For more info, call 876-438-1135.
BCIC is giving up to $5 million in free content insurance.
We've developed a free online calculator. So anybody in Jamaica, any homeowner can go on to BCIC online. You don't even have to be a BCIC customer, and it will give you a building value.
When you update your home's rebuilding cost with our online calculator, you'll get $5 million in free content insurance and up to 12 months to pay your premium.
If you're not insured, go get it now. Better to be safe than sorry.
Welcome back to CVM News at 7. We're now being joined by economist Keenan Faulkner, who will be sharing with us more about what to expect now that the hurricane has passed. Mr. Faulkner, the catastrophe bond is a big topic item. Everybody is talking about it. What exactly is it, and what can we expect from it?
All right, so good evening, Gio. Good evening, Nika. So the catastrophe bond is really an instrument, an insurance instrument. Now, it doesn't work like a traditional bond. So it's not a debt instrument that will increase Jamaica's debt stock. It is just simply an instrument that was issued by the World Bank. They act as an intermediary between Jamaica and capital market investors who invested in the bond. Jamaica pays a premium at regular intervals, like a regular traditional insurance instrument. And if there was no event, then that premium goes to the investors. However, since there was an event, then we would receive the principal that the investors were paying to the World Bank. So those funds are really held by the World Bank, and they should be distributed to Jamaica, say, within days, if not a week or two.
This move to have this, that Nigel Clark led in taking out this cat bond with the World Bank is being hailed because it's unprecedented. Could you explain a little bit more about this?
So Jamaica was the first country in the world to independently sponsor a catastrophe bond. So you're talking about the fact that, if we were absolutely sure that we would not get a Category 5 hurricane, there wouldn't be a need for a bond. So however small that risk was, some global investors took on that risk, decided it was worth it, and that if there was no event, they would get a payout. Now, it's not like traditional indemnity insurance, where if you, suffered any loss as a result of hurricane, fire, whatever it is, and you send the loss adjusters into the field to tally up the losses and then decide how much you get. It's not like that here. It's purposefully designed so that it is will get a quick and almost immediate payout. So it is, specifically executed for those sorts of relief and emergency situations. So, there are 3 stages really to disaster relief and in terms of our financing framework. It is relief, then recovery, then reconstruction. Reconstruction is something that will take, years, and that is something that will require substantially more resources. This CAT bond and the proceeds from it are really for emergency relief right now.
Okay, so Minister Charles, let's just bring you in here to speak about how, if at all, your ministry will be using this CAT bond that economist Keenan Faulkner just explained. Will your ministry be using some of the resources to be provided from that?
Well, the government of Jamaica will use the resources to assist us in the restoration, from infrastructure to anything that is required to get our people back onto their feet. Remember, for us, it is about leaving no one behind. And so from the perspective of the ministry, we will use the resources of the government and also whatever is donated to us from partners to make sure that we can provide specific relief in terms of the food, in terms of whatever is required to coordinate support to build back some of the homes and just to get the communities back to where they were. It's a part of our resilience protocol. And so, yes, it will require us to lean on some of the funds, but it's really for us, the government of Jamaica, all of the funds that we have in the government of Jamaica are focused on leaving no one behind.
Keenan, I just want to ask you, this catastrophe bond, we're looking at $150 million US. Mm-hmm. How much of that will Jamaica likely expect?